I thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I was suggesting that in the most catastrophic fire that occurs in our forests emits about 100 tons of carbon and greenhouse gases. For those who are concerned about trying to do something to reduce carbon emissions in our atmosphere, trying to reduce other pollutants in our atmosphere, we need to do something to manage our forests better to prevent these catastrophic fires. Now, that's on the extreme, the 100 tons per acre. A healthy green forest will sequester between 4 and 6 tons of carbon per acre. And so these are kind of the choices we're facing is how do you manage the forest for better forest health, for reduced fire and reduced fire intensity, and get them back into balance with nature. So my colleague from Utah says, what do you do about that? Well, a few years ago, we passed the Healthy Forest Restoration Act. And after much work, and I'll find a Healthy Forest Restoration Act here, we passed this act, and it was bipartisan in its nature and scope, and it was designed to allow federal agencies, the Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management, to more rapidly, while still involving the public, go in and do the kind of thinning and debris removal to address this issue of the overgrown forests you heard me mention, the 20 billion board feet a year that grows in our forests, the 10 billion that dies. So we can go in, especially in the wildland-urban interface, near communities where homes are, these kind of homes you see burning today, only they aren't necessarily in a federal forest, but it's a similar concept. Be able to go in quickly, have scientifically proven plans based in community wildfire plans in many cases to go in and remove that debris and reduce that fire hazard. That legislation, which I co-authored with a former colleague of ours, Scott McGinnis from Colorado, and Senator Feinstein, Senator Wyden were both very much involved in that, has worked in many cases, especially the community wildfire planning piece, because that piece brought diverse groups together, environmentalists, community leaders, firefighters. We've got a group here from Bend who've been on the forefront of this very effort, firefighters from my own district. They came together and they developed these plans to say, how do we safeguard the communities and the things we really want to protect, our watersheds, our habitat, and they came together. Now they're able to implement even more quickly those community wildfire plans. Now the problem we face in this Congress is that virtually every member of the leadership of this Congress voted no on the final conference report that passed the Senate unanimously. And that includes the Speaker and the Majority Leader, the caucus chairman, the Resources Committee chairman, the Subcommittee chairman, and the Rules Committee chairwoman all voted against the Healthy Forest Restoration Act conference report. This is what we'd worked out with the Senate. It went ahead and passed, became law. We now have these community wildfire plans in place. We need to continue to work on those and expand those elsewhere, but it's really important. So far this year, in America's forests and grasslands, on federal land, more than 8 million acres have burned. We are setting records. This is down a little bit from last year, but we are over the last few years, at record levels. American taxpayers have spent $1.22 billion fighting fire, and that's before these awful fires in California have broken out. So it's very expensive when we don't manage properly and we have fires break out.